You are about to be fixed. Physics Fixed. Better than real. Where each brief episode brings insight you've never had before by smashing through conventional limits. It's Occam's razor in the hands of Jack the Ripper. After episodes on gravity and mass energy, timely information on bits and qubits is appropriate. Why? In his course, The Science of Information, Professor Shoemaker notes, Rolf Landauer said that information is physical, and John Wheeler said that physics is informational. Since information exists as mass energy in some form, and in fact every form, we must conclude that gravity arises from information. Indeed, quantum physicists have jumped past John Wheeler's it-from-bit doctrine to it-from-qubit, specifically pursuing a model of quantum gravity. Obviously lacking is the fundamental nature of a bit and the link to qubit from bit. That's about to be fixed. It begins the same way as episode 12 did in modeling gravity. The quintessential feature of the continuum is that it provides the potential for separation in 4D. The binary opposite of separate is not separate, that is, direct physical contact. Contact is invariant because all contact is interval contact, characterized by equal temporal and spatial components. The object Phyxed uses to embody this is a pinhole, this time serving as a fundamental bit. Being a light-like wormhole, a pinhole is best seen with interval time coordinates to have zero internal span, despite indefinite external spans in time and space. This projected contact may be viewed as a velocity-dependent hole in spacetime. There's nothing simpler than a hole. It's not something, it's an absence. So it's only fitting that throughout computing history, holes in wood, paper, plastic, and semiconductors have served as binary digits. Phyxed replaces photons with pinholes, so the contrast provided with the continuum is as clear as light from dark. The most fundamental discontinuity is one in the continuum itself. We're now able to consider a quantum bit or qubit. In a classical system, a bit would have to be in one state or the other. However, quantum mechanics allows the qubit to be in a coherent superposition of both states at the same time, a property that is fundamental to quantum mechanics and thus quantum computing. At the same time implies delta t equals 0, or instantaneous motion naturally supplied by chronaxial spin. A pure qubit state is a linear superposition of the basis states, a linear combination of state 0 and state 1. The wave function psi is a superposition of the 0 and 1 states, where alpha and beta are probability amplitudes. The absolute squares of the amplitudes equate to probabilities. By no accident, a qubit arises from a bit exactly as a gravitational field arises from a pinhole. It's the same behavior of the same fundamental object. Chronaxial spin puts a bit into a radial superposition about time, conventionally depicted as a block sphere. Its complex space is simplified by setting both coordinate angles equal to describe a symmetric solid angle. If a qubit is prepared with value 1 for a given spin component, the probability p that it will also be 1 in a subsequently measured direction is given by p equal cosine squared of half their angle. Probability amplitude alpha is itself a real probability, the projection of 100% self-correlation on the unmeasured angle bisector, or 1 times cosine of half their angle. This in turn projects on the subsequently measured direction, that is 1 times cosine of half their angle times cosine of half their angle, or cosine squared of half their angle. Feynman said, the probability of any event in an ideal experiment is the square of something, the probability amplitude. Nobody knows any machinery. There is probability all the way back, but in the fundamental laws of physics there are odds. By all the way back, he meant all the way down to quantum scale, perhaps further. Chronaxial spin is effectively instantaneous, distributing a fundamental bit continuously and probabilistically in a 3D radial superposition that holds all the way to its center point. Phyxed has revealed a qubit as a solid bit, a bit in solid angular superposition by chronaxial spin. Thus, information is always associated with mass energy and gravitation. Quantum indeterminism is inherent to chronaxial spin because it is effectively instantaneous. A pinhole may thus simultaneously have spatial spin components in every direction at once. Einstein famously said, "God doesn't play dice. He uses spinners." Congratulations! You've been fixed. Better than real. Come in first with first principles. In First Things First, next time on Fixed. I'll see you there. If you dare. Ha ha! Find related links in the description below.